Hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to That's a Shoot, my weekly oversight show. We'll talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. What's going on this week is Money in the Bank. We will also get the Worlds Collide event as well, but I will not be doing predictions for that event. I will be watching, and in my record reaction tomorrow night of Money in the Bank, I'll talk a little bit about the Worlds Collide event there. But for this, that's a shoot. We're predicting the, as of right now, 4 matches for Money in the Bank. This is starting to, get a little crazy here because I think it's understandable for the Royal Rumble to have 4 matches because you have a match that goes over an hour. You got 2 matches that goes over an hour. As it comes to the 2 Royal Rumbles, and as my cat wants to leave, so you want to leave? Yeah, there you go. Okay. So you have 2 matches over an hour, things like that. So it would make sense that you would have 4 matches, and the same thing kind of goes for War Games as well. You have 2 matches that can go about an hour, and so then you have 2 other matches to stack on as well. But these Money in the Bank ladder matches don't go an hour. They better not go an hour. There's no need to. You know, each one could go at the most 25 minutes, and you should be able to put on a fantastic showing in those 25 minutes. So I kind of think that just like we did with Saturday night's main event, we're gonna end up getting another match either made or announced tonight or sometime tomorrow before the actual event. So make sure that you come back to this video. I will have the prediction for that match down in the comment section. But as for right now, I can only predict the 4 matches we have. So let's go ahead and start with predicting. First is the Women's Intercontinental Championship. The Women's Intercontinental Championship match between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. There's a weird stipulation here that has me kind of wondering that, this is going Lyra Valkyria's way. So here's the stipulation. If Lyra wins, Becky Lynch can no longer compete for the Intercontinental Championship as long as Lyra Valkyria is the champion. But if Becky Lynch wins, Lyra Valkyria has to raise Becky Lynch's hand. Now that's it's kind of a weird stipulation, but to me that's not a stipulation that would mean that Lyra should lose, right? This isn't something where you say, okay, now just having the stipulation of Becky Lynch winning the Intercontinental, not being to compete for the Intercontinental Championship, yes, that would kind of make you think there's a possibility. I think it would be more of a possibility that Becky Lynch would win. But all you're gonna do is have Lyra Valkyria raise her hand if Becky wins. I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. And then Bayley hasn't been on television since she was attacked by Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I think this is the perfect time to bring Bayley back, start the feud with Becky and Bayley as we are just a month away from Evolution. Having a Bayley versus Becky match. Now, you can say Becky versus Bayley for the Intercontinental Championship. Yes, that does work. But it's that stipulation of having Lyra Valkyria raising her hand is what is really throwing me off. So I'm expecting Lyra to win here, and then I'm gonna say that she wins, and then we get another we get another beatdown from Becky Lynch, and then Bayley makes the save, and that's how we get to Bayley and Becky at Evolution 2. So I'm predicting Lyra Valkyria to retain her Intercontinental Championship. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match is next. Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Julia, Naomi, and Stephanie Vaquer are the participants. This is a star-studded lineup. This could be a very tremendous thing going here. So let's go over this and go over the 6 participants and see how they line up. Alexa Bliss. She was doing something with Charlotte, although Charlotte has not been on television the last couple of weeks. And you would give Alexa Bliss the Money in the Bank contract just so just because the fans love her. Be a shout out to the fans. Rhea Ripley. Now Rhea Ripley, I agree with a lot of them. Rhea Ripley is someone who doesn't need it, but also wouldn't it be interesting to have Rhea Ripley, hold the Money in the Bank contract? And you can have her do the things. No, she doesn't need to, she can challenge EO, she can challenge Tiffany anytime we want. She's Rhea Ripley, that's what she does. But it would be interesting to see what would happen with a Rhea Ripley Money in the Bank. Mommy in the Bank. That's good too. Roxanne Perez, just newly up from NXT, one of the 3 newly up of her NXT. Sure, having her hold it would be interesting. I think that also that would mean also as well that it would probably be she would hardly hold it for a long time, 6 or 7 months before she would cash in. I think that's a good thing, but I also think that I have this thing with Roxanne Perez and her being a heel, and like the wrestlers that she would be wrestling, like a Rhea Ripley, like Tiffany Stratton, are women that she shouldn't beat because of her side. And the thing is that she doesn't cheat. She doesn't. They don't have her cheat to win, and that's the thing that really frustrates me about the whole Roxanne Perez heel turn. I'm hoping at some point they do turn her babyface. They can keep her being, the attitude, something like that. She doesn't have to go back to being the smiling babyface. She can keep the attitude, just be a babyface. Because it makes more sense that at 5 feet tall and 80 pounds, whatever she is, that she's an underdog in the match, and that she needs to do certain things to she needs to do certain things to beat Rhea Ripley, to beat Jordan Grace and Alexa Bliss and Tiffany Stratton. She needs to do those. It makes more sense for her to be the underdog and do it rather than her to be the heel and do it. Julia, I don't think it's Julia. We saw that she pinned Zelina Vega, for her, for there to be, her to be in this event, and I think she, came up and talked to Zelina Vega last week on SmackDown. So I'm thinking it's Zelina Vega versus Julia at Evolution for the Women's United States Championship, which I would think that they're going to put the title on Julia there. Naomi, she's this new heel character. There's a lot of things going on there, and I think her being Money in the Bank would be very interesting. The Money in the Bank is more kind of a heel thing, than it is a babyface thing. It can work with babyfaces, as we saw with the first CM Punk cash in, as we've seen with Rob Van Dam. Although the babyfaces probably should, do the babyface thing, but whatever. but it can work. Yeah, but the only reason here, I think it will work perfectly with her. And Stephanie Verker, I think again, I think they're gonna mirror Stephanie with Julia. And I think she's probably going to go after the Intercontinental Championship. She'll probably win some type of number one contenders match, and it would be Stephanie and Lyra at the Women's Evolution. So that's the way I see it. So my prediction, and I think this just makes the most sense. It's Naomi. You know, and I think at some point down the line we're going to get a Naomi versus Bianca Belair and Naomi versus Jade Cargill and those three and all those things. You know, it's gonna happen, and it could happen with either Naomi as a champion or maybe Bianca as a champion, and Naomi cashes in on Bianca. That could happen. There are many things that we could see this happening. So, but I think Naomi is the most interesting and is the most obvious choice here to win the Money in the Bank ladder match, and I'm gonna say it's Naomi. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match is next. The participants: Solo Sikoa, Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Penta, Andrade, and El Grande Americano. Again, like we did with the women, let's go over one by one these competitors. Solo Sikoa. You would don't think you would give it to Solo Sikoa, but there is something interesting there as he's been trying to work Jimmy to come back to the family, and maybe you would try to giving him the briefcase with having him maybe try to do that with Jay. And also, if you really just wanted to, there's been rumors that they don't like the money, Triple H doesn't like the Money in the Bank concept. You can easily kill it by having Solo Sikoa win it and then cash in on Jacob Fatu. You can easily do it like that if you wanted to kill it. So there is that. LA Knight. I think LA Knight he should be the favorite here. For several reasons, because I think he's still over it, and he's lost a little bit, but he still gets pops, and he's still over it, and everything like that. And I think having LA Knight as a champion, world champion, it would be interesting too, because at some point you do think that they're gonna pull the trigger off of Jey Uso onto Seth Rollins, I think. And I think it would be good for LA Knight to cash in, and then you could also move LA Knight over to Raw and have another star over there. So that could happen. Speaking of Seth Rollins, there is Seth Rollins. Now, some people would say he is the obvious one, right? You give him Money in the Bank because at some point you would think that he is the one that's going to beat Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship, and as he should, because he has this new heel faction, and him being the world champion with this new heel faction, it just has to be, right? For the most part, it just has to be, or it should be a little bit like that. But does it need to be? But does it need to be with Money in the Bank? Because, see, I still think there are other things that you have that can still go here, right? Because there are some people out there who are predicting that Seth Rollins wins Money in the Bank. We've got the Gunther Jey Uso thing happening on Monday on Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso beats Gunther. Seth cashes in on Jay, then he becomes a new World Heavyweight Champion. And while that is something that could happen, I'm not saying that it won't. There's something that could happen. I happen to think that is something that is coming from people who, again, are not down with the whole Jey Uso as champion thing. I don't think that is. I don't think that is something that is, because why would Jey Uso, who is this popular, why would you not have him have a pretty substantial run with the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, it isn't like he's lost popularity at all. You know, he's still over. He's still selling merchandise. Why would you take it off of him? You know, less than 2 months of him, after him winning it. You know, why would you do that? So, you know, and listen, Seth could still win it, and he could cash in it later. But I kind of see that this, with CM Punk still out there and Sami Zayn still out there, and still Roman Reigns still around, I still think we still got those three to kind of conquer for Seth Rollins before he actually wins the championship. Because if he can conquer them and take them out, right? So then now Jey Uso doesn't have Sami to help. He doesn't have CM Punk to help. He doesn't have Roman to help. It's just him against Seth. That works, and that makes a lot more sense. We have Penta. You would give it to Penta, and so that Penta could cash in next year at WrestleMania. That's what you would do. But I don't think it's going to happen, because I still think at some point they're going to put him and Phoenix together for the Lucha Brothers. Andrade. It's kind of a surprise that Andrade was in this one for some people, and it would be a surprise if he won it. But I don't think giving him the briefcase would be such a bad idea. Because he can do certain things with them, and then you can help. You can actually do what this was kind of meant to do. I think in the first place was that help build Andrade with the Money in the Bank. And he'll get on TV more, things like that, and then he could have a tremendous cash in. And then there's the Grande Americano, and people are saying that he would win it for a comedy thing. Or he would win it to cash in on the AAA champion. Something like that. Listen, when you have, let's like when you have two championships. When you have, you can have one champion kind of be one thing, and the other championship be the other thing. Like this, you get another reason why I don't think you want to take it off of Jey Uso. But again, you have a part-time champion, John Cena, so why not have the World Heavyweight Champion who's there every week with Jey Uso, and it'd be like this. You would have a serious contender with the women's Money in the Bank and Naomi, according to me. And if you gave it to Grande Americano, he could be the comic relief, who at some point maybe would cash in, and he would, and then he would get unmasked. You would see it would be Chad Gable, and everything would go to shit. So with that being said, LA Knight should win this, but I'm going to go with Seth Rollins just because I think sometimes predictable and obvious isn't bad. And I think Seth Rollins gets it. But again, I personally think that you don't have to have Seth, Seth shouldn't cash in, on Jey, because there are some people also saying that, okay, so he would cash in on Jey and he could win, but also he could cash in on Jey on Monday, but then Punk, Sami, or Roman could cost him. It could cost him. And I think I agree with Mr. Santizap, who I think he said, I believe it was on his Raw post game show with Denise Salcedo. He said that if you're gonna do the thing where you cost Seth, where you have those guys cost Seth, the title or something like that, have him cost him the briefcase. Don't have him cost him the cash, like you did last year with Drew McIntyre. So actually, I was saying I thought Jey Uso was gonna win it because CM Punk would cost Drew McIntyre the briefcase. Now he got the briefcase, but then when Drew cashed in later, Punk cost him the title. He cost him the match, and I think I think maybe some people were saying, well, and some people didn't like that. I didn't like that too much as well. Even though I knew the story, but I thought again that should have been given to Jey Uso because you could have had Jey Uso been World Heavyweight Champion long before the whole WrestleMania stuff. But that's neither here nor there. At least he's champion now. So I do think that if you're gonna cost Seth Rollins, you either cost him the match on Sunday, on Saturday. You don't have him cost now. Maybe what you would do is you would come down. He would come down and try to cash in. And you would cost him to cash in, but he still would have the briefcase. That would be okay. But yeah, I don't think having him cash in, match starts, and then you cost him the match 2 years in a row. But again, if rumors are true, Triple H doesn't like it. So, and he may be trying to kill it, and that may be right. One way to try to kill it is to do all these crazy things with it, things that the fans would not like and would enjoy. Would just say, well, just get rid of it. Okay, I'm listening to the fans. I'm gonna get rid of it. So that could be the thing. So I'm predicting Seth Rollins to win the Money in the Bank match, men's version. And what I believe will be the main event of Money in the Bank: Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso taking on John Cena and Logan Paul. This was set up at Saturday night's main event where John Cena interfered in the Logan Paul Jey Uso match, and Cody Rhodes made his return and saved him. And as Jey Uso got the victory over Logan Paul, they decided to make a tag match for Money in the Bank. Allegedly this was supposed to be a match where we saw Travis Scott, but they maybe heard some of the backlash and tried to change it to this. This can go many ways. One thing I heard, and I heard it from Luke Owen on Wrestle Talk. He said that this would be something where maybe Jey Uso would, because one of the stories that they're telling with Jey Uso, with the match that's coming up on Monday against Gunther, is that maybe Jey Uso is overstepping his bounds. He's taking too much on as champion. He's doing all this stuff with, Seth and his crew, with Punk and Sammy, and then he's now in this tag match with Cody Rhodes against Logan Paul and John Cena. He's got so much on his plate that he's not going to be able to withstand the barrage that Gunther is going to bring on Monday, which would allow Gunther to win again to regain the championship. So he said something in his Monday Night Predictions video, that he thought that maybe Jey Uso would once again get beat. Maybe there'll be shenanigans and John Cena would hit Jey Uso with he hit Jey Uso with the belt. He'd get an AA and John Cena would pin him, or maybe even Logan Paul would pin him. And then even what that would do is maybe that would set up Jey Uso and Logan Paul for a later date. If Jey Uso worked, it would keep the championship. Because they do have Night of Champions, I guess, happening later this month, I guess, or it's in July. I don't know. I don't know when it is. I don't know if it's later this month or in July. So they got a whole bunch of stuff happening. Then it's getting way too much. But you know, they got all of these things happening, and I can see that. I can also see something that I think is on it, that Logan Paul's here to take the fall, right? Whether it's Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso, Logan Paul takes the fall here. And you send the crowd home happy with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. You send them home happy, but Jey Uso yeeting and everything like that. Especially when last week on SmackDown there was kind of a disagreement between Logan and John Cena about what to do, because Jey Uso challenged him to come and fight, and Logan was ready for it, and John wasn't. So could something happen there? There's the only thing that I would say here. Whatever happens, I don't think Cody Rhodes is getting pinned, and I don't think John Cena is getting pinned. I don't think either one of those is happening. So if Cody and Jey loses, Jey will take the pin. If John and Logan loses, I think Logan is going to take the pin. I think in this case, with no title on the line or anything like that, you send a crowd home happy, you send a crowd home yeeting. You have Jey Uso pin Logan Paul, in the match. So I'm gonna say Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso win the match, and then that sets up other things down the line. Okay, so to recap, Lyra Valkyria will retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Naomi will win the Women's Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins will win the Men's Money in the Bank. And Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso will take down John Cena and Logan Paul. So there you have it, my predictions for WWE 2025 Money in the Bank. Again, if another match is made tonight or early tomorrow, my prediction for that will be in the comments, in the comment section of this video. Also, as I've been doing for the past year or two, I'm gonna have WWE 2K25 predict what happens at Money in the Bank. That stream is happening later on this afternoon. Please go into my description box, subscribe to my gaming channel on YouTube. Go and follow me on my Kick and my Twitch. It will be there as well. Go ahead and check it out. The stream will be happening later on today, so it's something that you're going to see. I think you guys will have fun watching it, and I'll have fun playing it. So it should be a good time. Alrighty then. Is there anything else I need to say? Oh, of course, tomorrow. Once again, reminder. I will not be. I did not do predictions for Worlds Collide. I will be watching it, and tomorrow after the show, after the Money in the Bank show, doing my rapid reaction for Money in the Bank. Make sure you click the notification bell so that when I go live, you can join in and we can talk about what went down on Money in the Bank. We'll also talk about what happened earlier that day in the Worlds Collide. So we'll talk about a lot of it. There are people doing double duty. Tomorrow we got Stephanie Recur, who's only doing AAA, but she's gonna be in that. She's gonna be in that Money in the Bank match, and then I'm not gonna play along. Chad Gable is gonna be in the main event against Hijo de Vikingo for the Mega Championship, and then he is also gonna be in, of course, the Men's Money in the Bank match. So. He's doing double duty. He just is. Alright, and that's it. So there you have it. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Let me know how you guys feel about my predictions. Let me know about your predictions for Money in the Bank as well. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJTRIP, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.